Very good morning, children. Welcome to today's biology class. And the last class we learned about the male reproductive system. And today class, let me explain about how the female reproductive system works out and what are the different parts involved in the female reproductive system and what is called as the fertilization. And these are the topics we are going to study in this today's class. Whereas coming to the female reproductive system consists of mainly three parts. What are the three parts means? The first one is a pair of ovaries. A pair of ovaries. So the ovaries, they look like as an almond shape, and see these are the a pair of ovaries. Okay, yes. The shape may be like as an almond shape. Okay, and the next one is a pair of oviduct. This is called as an oviduct, and this is also known as fallopian tubes. Okay, a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts called as fallopian tubes, and a sac-like structure that is called as an uterus. Okay, these are the main parts explained in your syllabus. Well, many parts are there, and these parts are given in your the syllabus. Just have a look on the diagram also. Okay, first one is what? A pair of ovaries. How these ovaries they look means they look like as almond shape. Okay, yes, they are attaches to the uterus. Second part is a pair of oviducts. They are also called as fallopian tubes. Okay, and each fallopian tube, just see it's an opening like this. Each fallopian tube, it has and ends up with the bell-like structure. This is called as the mouth of the fallopian tube, you can say. Mouth of the fallopian tube like this. Okay, we'll see like this. Funnel-like fallopian tube. It's provided with the hair-like structures, and these are called as the cilia. Whenever the ova is released from the ovaries. Okay, I already explained in the online class for you. A pair of ovaries are there, and every month, for example, month of actually when the ova is released and the onset of the puberty, that is begins from the 12 to 13 years, and that is called as a menstrual cycle. It's a Greek word. The menstrual means the mensum or the month. Monthly this process it will be occur in the female reproductive system. Okay, in the month of Jan, this left ovary takes an action to release the ovary, and the next month it goes to the right, and the next month again left, next month again the right. Successive months, alternative ovaries, they are ready to release the egg. That is nothing but we'll call it as a ova. How many eggs are released? How many eggs are released means only one egg will be released for every month. Okay, yes. So whenever the egg is released, immediately this released egg is catch hold by this the cilia type of hairs, and it will be reaches into the what is this called? The duct called as an fallopian tube. Okay, did you get my point? Yes? Okay, yes. So a pair of oviducts are there, and these are also called as a fallopian tube, and fallopian tube is the place where the fertilization process it will be occur. Okay, yes. So I'll explain later how this fertilization will be takes place. And the next and the last part is an uterus. Uterus is a sac-like part, and it is just like as a bag-like structure, and the walls of the uterus it will be very thin and before the pregnancy. Okay, yes, when once the fertilization begins, let me say what is called as a fertilization, then we'll discuss how this the embedding of ovary will be takes place in the uterus. Okay, yes. So the female gamete will call it as a ova, and this is also called as an egg. Okay, yes. This egg has to be reaches to oviduct. That's what I told. It really reaches to the oviduct. Oviduct is also called as a fallopian tube, and there the fertilization it will be begins or it takes place. Okay, yes. So then once this egg is fertilized, then what will happen? The egg it will be travels. Egg plus the sperm it will be fuses, and then it will be travels, and then it will be reaches to the wall of the uterus. Okay, yes. So let's come into the uterus. Actually, what is the uterus? Uterus is the place and where the development of this zygote it will be takes place. Uterus is the place where the development of the zygote occurs. Further zygote it will be turns to the embryo. Attachment of the embryo to the wall of the uterus is known as an implantation. In higher classes you will study according to your class 8th and according to your textbook what are covered, those points only I am covering. Okay, yes. So the uterus is a place where the development of baby takes place. How this development of baby occurs, just I will give for your extra information that it will be useful for you whenever you jump into the higher classes. Okay, yes. Let me explain the differences between the sperm and ova. Okay, children, we already studied the male reproductive system. Let me once recollect what you learn in the male reproductive system. In male reproductive system, all this is a comparative study, children. Male reproductive system also they are having a pair of testes, and female also having a pair of ovaries. And where these testes are located, I said that below the abdomen in the scrotal sac. And whereas coming to the ovaries, a pair of ovaries where they release, where they are placed, it means they are placed inside the abdomen. Testis is below the abdomen and ovaries are inside the abdomen. Okay, they are attached to the uterus also, I said. Okay, yes. Then the testis is attached with the sperm theca or the sperm duct. This is also called as a vas deferens. Ovaries are connected to the ovi, the ducts. Okay, yes. So from the testis, the sperm production, whenever the sperm production begins, and the sperm will be travel. Let's come to the sperm. How many sperms it will be released? Millions of the sperms will be released, and they are small in size and highly motile in nature, I said. Okay, that those points comes under the differences. If you study the differences between the sperm and the ova, and the sperm is in the millions, and the ova is only one egg will be released per month. Okay, yes. The size of the sperm is microscopic. They are very small, and the size is larger here. Okay, and the sperms are highly motile, and whereas the ova has to be stationary. Okay, so with this it is clear for you. The sperm only has to be reaches to the egg. Okay, during the copulation time, that is nothing but fertilization process begins during that particular time. Whenever the male deposits the sperms in the female reproductive system, and there the sperm it will be the stay in the female reproductive system 72 hours. Within the 72 hours when the sperms are available here, at that time when the ova is released, so what will happen? The sperm it will be passes, it travels, and it travels into the fallopian tube. This is the sperm. And on the other side what is available? And on the other side the ova is collected by the fallopian tube. And so now the sperm and ova will be fuses, and then we'll get a ball-like structure, a bigger structure it will be, the zygote will be formed. And the later zygote it will be developed like as an embryo. So then finally what will happen? Embryo reaches to the wall of the uterus. It reaches to the wall of the uterus and it will be attaches. Implantation we can say. It attaches to the wall of the uterus 9 months. Okay, during this 9 months what will happen? There is a drastic changes. Every day for a month wise what will happen? Embryo will be develops into the slowly, 3rd month we'll call it as a fetus, and the next it turns into other stages, and like that the embryo will be developed like as an adult. Okay, that is during the fertilization time this process it will be happen. Okay, if there is no copulation what will happen? Every month ova will be released outside and it will be gets ready. Whenever the ova has to be released, all these walls they will have to be ready to bear the embryo. Okay, how they will be ready? How they will be ready means, as I said, the uterus is very thin. So during the ova releasing time, what will happen? The walls of this ova will be gets thickened. They plastered with the many layers. Okay, in the same way, the cells of the fallopian tube also, it gets plastered with them many layers. Why it will be like that? That means the system is getting ready and waiting or anticipating of the pregnancy. That means when the wall of this uterus is thin like this, just like this thin, and this embryo cannot attaches to the wall of the uterus, and it cannot stable, and it cannot stand in the 9 months, and there is no proper development for this embryo. That is the reason regular process. What is the regular process is happening after the puberty stage? What will happen means the cells, they will be get ready. The number of the cells, it will be increased, and they will be get plastered like as a thick walls, and they will be ready. So if there is no embryo, then what will happen to all these cells? The cells once again, they will be get detached like this. When they detach like this, what will happen? The walls of the cells, it will be gets break out. That from that breaking regions, what will happen? The mass of the blood, the mass of the waste, and in the form of the blood, it will be comes out. That is only called as a menstrual process. Okay, when once this menstrual process is completed, maybe 3 days or the 4 days it will be stay, and it completes, and again proliferative stage begins. So all the time children, just for your awareness, just I am telling that in class 10th we will study very clearly. So the 2 stages it will be takes place. One is the proliferative stage. That means the number of the cells will be increased, the walls it will be gets thickened. And the second stage is secretory stage. It is not waited for the embryo to attaches. So if embryo is not attached, then immediately the cell walls will be get detached like this, and so the mass of the blood it will become, so that is called secretory phase occurs, and again the proliferative stage it will be begins. This is a cyclic process, it will be taken in an female reproductive system. Okay children, I hope it is clear for you. That's enough. For that knowledge is enough for you. Okay, so the differences between the sperm and the ovary. So they are million and here one egg, and they are small in nature and it's a large in nature, and they are very motile. Motile in the sense they are movable, and whereas here they are coming to the this particular thing, they are stationary, they are fixed. In this particular picture we can see who is visiting here. The male reproductive gamete is visiting here. This is the female structure, female egg. Okay, and this one we will call it as an egg. This is called as an egg or the ova, and millions of the sperms will be attack at a time to this particular egg during the fertilization process. So then what will happen? Is it all the sperms will be enter inside? No, only one sperm can enter inside. Okay, whichever the sperm reaches first. So then how it can reach us? I said already the point, they have an piercing structure that is called as an acrosome. With the help of an acrosome, it will pierce it, and it will be enter inside. Okay, and it will be enter inside. Immediately what will happen? See, all these walls they get thickened. The walls they will be gets thickened with the lining of the cells, and there is no chance for the no more entry into the sperm. I hope it is clear for you. When once the sperm is enter inside, the walls automatically they will be gets thickened. So then, now the piercing acrosome, it not enough that force to be make and break that wall and to enter inside in such a way, and it is preventing the double fertilization. Okay, of course, how you get the twins, that is a different topic. I'll cover that topic later. Okay, yes. So like that, what is happening here? Whenever this the ova is releasing the ovary is releasing the ova, when the sperm is available here, and the fusion is taking place like this. When the fusion occurs like this, immediately then what will happen? The single cell. I already said in an online class. This is an the single cell. That is haploid cell, and this is also the single cell. Okay, that's what I written here. The fusion of the sperm with an egg is called as what? Fertilization. Okay, fertilization, what will happen? The sperm is a single cell and egg is a single cell. Both will be combined and we'll get two cells, and these two cells we'll call it as a diploid cell, and this diploid cell is nothing but we'll call it as a zygote. So what will happen to the zygote? The size of the zygote, it will increase slowly, and it will be developed like as a ball-like structure. Blastula we can say. Gastrocele, blastocele. These are the higher terminologies we'll study in our classes. So whenever it is developed like as a ball-like structure, slowly. Some cases what will happen? No, in the fallopian tube itself, the ball it will be struck. Okay, when the ball strucks like that, and there is no chance for the further development of the embryo. The developed embryo has to be come down. It has to be come down, and it has to reaches to this uterus, and it has to be attached to the wall of the uterus. That particular process is called as an implantation. What will happen when you plant the plant under the soil? So we dig the soil and just we keep the plant and we'll cover it. Now what will happen? The roots they penetrate, and so roots holds the soil. That is the reason plant is not coming out. The same process will be happen here also. Whenever the embryo is reaches to the uterus, immediately it is embedded. Embedded in the sense attaches to the wall of the uterus. That particular process we will call it as implantation occurs. When once this implantation takes place, and it will not be detached until the 9 months when everything is normal. When the conditions are normal, there is no chance for the detachment. Some cases what will happen means what you will call it is an abortions will be takes place. Whenever the baby is embryo is attached like that, maybe it may stay 2 months or the 3 months, and it will be detaches from the wall. So automatically it will be comes out. There is no growth in that. Okay, that those are called as a miscarriages, they will say, or abortions occurs, or there is no development of the embryo. So that is the reason the embryo has to be embedded to the walls of the uterus. Is it clear, children? That is the process of an fertilization. Whereas coming to the fertilization occurs in a 2 ways, children. One is an external fertilization, and second type of fertilization is an internal fertilization. In internal fertilization, mostly we'll see in all the mammals. Male organism is to deposit the sperm into the female system. Okay, that is called as an internal fertilization. Further development of whenever the deposition of sperm occurs, fusion, the ova has to be available. If there is no ova, there is no chance for the fertilization. It will be vanished and it will be comes out. When the sperm ova is available, it will be fuses and zygote it will be formed, and further development is taking place in the female reproductive system. Such a type of fertilization we will call it as an internal fertilization. In some living organisms, the fertilization is an external process. External means what here? Both the male and the female organisms, they releases their sperm and then eggs outside. Okay, the best example for the external fertilization is a frog. Nowadays, maybe you can observe that whenever there is a stagnant water, and we can see the croaking sounds nowadays we listen because of the rain. Okay, the croaking sounds given by the male frog, and male frog invites the female frog. So during that particular process, copulation time, what will happen? Male frog releases their eggs outside. Those eggs will call it as a milt. In the form of the sperm, they release outside, they are called as a milt. Over that, the female frog comes and it releases their eggs in the form of a spawn. Okay, the male, see I given here the external fertilization process. External means both the releases the eggs outside, male and then female frog. Internal means the human beings mostly and all the mammals internal fertilization occurs. Okay, frog fertilization I'll explain later, and let me say about another the topic here, IVF it is given. Okay, and before that from the male the sperm is released from the father and the egg is released from the mother. So when these two fuse, and we'll get a new individual, that is an inheritance from the parental characters. Okay, parental characters. No, so then obviously what will happen? Then we'll get a new baby. Some cases what will happen means this process will not occur in nature, in a natural way. So they are not ready to give birth to the young ones, their siblings. So then what will happen at that time? They have to go for artificial process. That artificial process only is called as an IVF. What is the full form of this IVF? Means in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization. During in vitro fertilization, what they will do means they take the sperm cannot reach us to the female reproductive system, that is called as an ova. So in such a cases, what they will do means they take the sperm from the father and egg from the mother, and they'll take out and they'll make them to fuse in the test tubes. Maybe you heard the word about the test tube babies. In your textbook it is given, do you know? So the sperm and ova, just they'll make them to fuse it inside the test tube. So embryo will be developed. That embryo they'll take out and artificially they prepared. So that developed embryo, they'll insert it in the walls of the uterus. That particular process is called as in vitro fertilization. So till embryo, the fertilization process is done outside by an artificial way, and but the sperm and the ova of the same parents. Okay, and then embryo, and once it is developed, then it is they'll insert it in the female reproductive system. Further development it will be takes place. Okay, children, about external fertilization, frog life cycle, how the fertilization occurs, I will explain that in the next class. And that's all for today. And today class I covered female reproductive system, the differences, and how the fertilization process occur. And I'll forward the key points, and just stay safe at home and do your works on time. Bye.